This
We
conference will now be recorded.
have 3 items on the agenda for discussion. Item number 1 is an explanation of how the online meetings kind of should be framed, and this is guidance from the city attorney. City Attorney Hughes, he cautions us to limit the items during these. We're trying to make these as public as possible during the stay-at-home order, but there has to be some limitations. So when we're doing that, we are going to our best try to limit the items on the agenda to things that are relevant to the emergency. City Attorney Hughes cautions us that the items that can be on a virtual meeting agenda are limited, so that any items that can wait until later should be deferred until after the emergency is concluded. The 2 attached documents that are being shown at the bottom of the screen provide guidance as to how we manage agenda items during the COVID-19 emergency. Agenda items that are both necessary and routine, such as voucher approval, should be included. Those items that are necessary but not routine, such as the ordinance that changes park rules, or those items that are routine but not necessary, like staff reports, should be omitted. For these reasons, the draft agenda published on Thursday, April 9, 2020 has been amended to conform with the guidance of the attorney. Is there any discussion on this? John, did you have any further points? John Millard?
No, you're all over it. What I've got showing on the screen there are the questions we need to ask. For those of you out there that have open mics, please be aware that there's a lot of noise in the background. Necessary and routine is the one question to ask, and or is it necessary to respond to the outbreak? And you'll see this clearly in the topics that we've the attorney agreed that should be on the agenda for tonight.
Thank you. Does anybody from the council have any questions or comments on the guidance from the attorney?
And I don't have any.
Okay.
I don't either.
Linda?
No, I don't.
Okay, John?
No, I've been going through these meetings quite a bit over the last 3 weeks.
Okay. Wait.
Nope.
Dave? Watterson? Do you have any comments?
This
I'm
mic
good.
is off. There you go.
Jason?
No, I'm looking through it. No, I don't have anything.
Okay, we don't know how long we're gonna be doing this. It's already been a month, or over a month. We declared the emergency, I think, the 13th of last month. So we're just preparing to do this as much as necessary. Item number 2 on the work session, and doing the research necessary to advise the municipal clients regarding their responses to COVID-19 emergency. City Attorney Hughes advises that the city should adopt an electronic signature policy. This is proposed in Resolution 2020-02, which would adopt such a policy, protecting the city's interests while conducting business using modern document technologies. I'm sure everybody's familiar with e-docs and e-signing. To be able to do that, we're not saying that we're going to need to do that for everything, but we want to be prepared to do it for the things that are necessary. So we need a policy to be able to do that.
Is that for like vouchers too? How are we going to send the vouchers?
John, Lauren?
No, this is not. Vouchers are kind of unique. The purpose of what the document that you sign is to certify to interested parties that yes, the city council has been made aware of these. What this policy is aimed at are the documents that you've been seeing in the news a lot now, like proclamations, or in our case, contracts is a big deal. In the past, you know, everybody wanted that original ink signature so that people would know that, yay, verily, it was whoever it was that was supposed to be signing that document signed the document. And this policy, as the mayor mentioned, you can have a special digital signature. That's DocuSign and things like that. And so this would authorize us to use that if it was required for some particular purpose. But really what we're trying to get at is, are these facsimile signatures? So if the mayor signs a contract, and as the clerk treasurer, I know who the mayor is. So when I attest, all I'm really doing is saying, yes, it really was Wayne Fournier that signed this document. And then we take that over to the scanner and scan it in. And with this policy on board, people could say, oh, well, they have a system in place of verifying those signatures. I've received this document via email, and there's all that metadata that's associated with the email to prove the origin and prove the destination. So that's the system that this is talking about, that you can reasonably rely upon to determine the veracity of the signatures. And because this is in the news a lot lately, Attorney Hughes noticed that we did not have a policy like this in place, but in fact, we've been doing it. And he just thought that we should adopt this so that there's no question about it.
So this is on the agenda. Linda, do you have any questions or comments?
No, I don't. I've gone through this whole thing and I know about docu-signing. In fact, I did it the other day for something, so.
Okay. Councilmember O'Callahan,
Easy peasy, no worries.
Dave,
Nope, all good.
Jason,
No.
Rachel?
No.
All right. Next item, the COVID-19 emergency has highlighted the need to update our financial and personnel policies in regard to paying city employees during a health-related emergency that precludes employees from reporting to work, even though those employees may be ready, willing, and able to work. So if they're ordered to stay home and they're not sick and whatnot, this proposed ordinance would give the mayor the authority to continue to pay city employees who would otherwise report to work, but for a stay-at-home order, the full amount of their regular pay. This proposed ordinance has been reviewed and includes the changes suggested by City Attorney Hughes. So we want to be able to continue paying our employees no matter what, essentially. You can see the document provided. I'm trying to mess with this here. John Millard, do you have any further comments?
No, just if anybody wants to expand on it. We copied, I want to say it was the city of Shoreline. It may have been Snohomish. It was one of the S cities.
Yeah.
And we added this part. It was looked at by Attorney Hughes, and it passes his muster. The only change we made is that for those of us that have the ability to work from home, the city acquired the software necessary that we can now reach right into our computers, and for all intents and purposes, it's the same as sitting on our desk, and we can forward the work phones to our home phones. And all what we are saying here is, first and foremost, this is only applicable in a health emergency where a stay-at-home order has been declared. And the city has to provide the tools. If the city can't provide the tools, then we can't say people have to do any work at all. But if we can provide the tools and they can do some work, the supervisor will determine what work is to be done, but in no case will it be more than a normal 8-hour day's worth of work. So there's safeguards built into it, but the city gets a little bit of flexibility, and our citizens can feel good that we're trying to take care of them as the best we can, and we're taking care of our employees while doing it.
Yeah, so we've done a number of things to make it to where work from home would work for like the city hall employees, but they're, in a situation like this that we can't necessarily control or foresee everything. Things could happen where we don't necessarily have a plan, or the public works guys are not coming in, or something like that, and we don't want to jeopardize our employees, lives. You know, we're putting you know, continuation of government as a top priority, and ensuring that you know, this, no matter what, when everything's done, that we still have the city government all put together to get back to work. Linda, do you have any questions?
No. I
Don?
have a question.
Go ahead, Linda.
I have a question about the vouchers. I know we have to sign them, the vouchers.
We can talk about that after this item.
All right.
Don O'Callahan?
Yes, maybe I just missed it the first time I read it. I'm not seeing it here either. But are we just assuming that it's the state that's going to declare the emergency? Because that's not in here, and I'd rather have it clarified instead of just an assumption.
No, it's not an assumption. It states clearly that the state of Washington, the Thurston County Department of Public Health, or the city of Tenino, any one of us can declare the emergency. Any one of those three jurisdictions can put in place the stay-at-home order.
Section 1, the city of Tenino hereby adopts a policy where, in the event of an emergency health crisis.
I got it. Wayne,
Okay.
I got it. Okay, so the
Okay.
next part is then we're going to have to come up with some kind of rules and policies on what is an actual emergency. If we can declare an emergency as a city standalone, then we need to have guidelines for that.
We can currently declare an emergency on our own, and I would be careful of you know, pigeonholing us into anything.
Right.
The mayor can declare an emergency. You guys don't have to buy it. You can vote against it, but you know, if we pigeonhole ourselves into what isn't an emergency, I think that would be foolish. Nobody anticipated this.
No, but if you remember, 2 years ago, I think it was, Linda, you might be able to refresh the time frame on that. As a state, we actually voted on emergency powers for the state.
Oh, Lord, I don't remember anything about it. I don't remember anything about it.
Okay, and
Who voted? Who voted? The people voted?
yes,
Who voted?
the people, as a state, we voted to grant emergency powers to the state, which the governor is going under right now. I understand that we can, but if you're looking at you look through all the states that are doing this, and they really had no plan or any kind of a guideline of what they were doing. And because of that, a lot of stuff floundered. I'd rather have some kind of guidelines as to what we're doing. And again, we can come up with that later.
Yeah.
But we should have some kind of plan. As you guys all know, that I'm real big on planning for different kinds of emergencies. And throughout history, we can draw on that to come up with some kind of guidance, not just for you, Wayne, but for any council that comes after, with the understanding that just because we came up with it doesn't mean that they have to go by it, but it's still, I think, is a better thing to do, to have some kind of a guideline.
Well, I think that might be a different document, and I think you're right. We can go by that later, but we would be looking at the ordinance that allows the mayor to declare an emergency.
Yeah, that's what I said. We can come back to that part later on.
Okay.
But I just want to bring that up right now. This way we don't forget. It's on record that at some point after all of this is done, we can get together and come up with some kind of rules or guide of how we go about setting up an emergency, even though it's just the city itself that's doing it and not the rest of the state. You know what I mean? This is something we can do later.
Okay. Councilmember Watterson, we lost Jason here.
Wait, what?
There you are.
Forgot his voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with this. I think it's important to keep supporting our employees and keeping them financially sound and letting them work from home as much as possible during this time. It's just, yeah, like you said, I think it's just a good way to keep the city moving forward as much as we can during this.
Yeah. Without
agree.
this, it creates gift of public funds concerns. If we were to just say, don't come in, and we didn't necessarily have a work plan for them at home, if it was like, something happens, we say, you cannot come in tomorrow, we would have to do like leave without pay unless we have this.
Yeah,
And it's not their fault they can't come in.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I support it. And yeah, we want to look at any kind of guidelines. Like you said, it's a little difficult to think of every situation, but maybe some good basic guidelines are good.
Okay, thank you. Jason?
Yeah, no, David and John said it perfectly. So I second, I just echo what they just said.
Okay. Rachel, you're in your garage, it looks like.
It's my living
Coming live
room.
from the bathroom closet.
It's my living room.
Oh, okay. There's a ladder on the wall.
My fireplace. I'm turning video off.
No, come on. All right. Do you have any comments?
You know, that's exactly why I don't want to be on video.
I'm sure you look beautiful.
See that thing? It was on Facebook. Somebody was talking about meetings, and you spend most of your time looking at everybody's backgrounds and
Yeah.
anybody's saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's it for our work session. We have 15 minutes to kill.
I had a question.
Are there any other topics that anyone would like to discuss?
I have one question, just a question.
Go ahead.
We're looking into trying to think about what the financial impact to the city is going to be. I know I've been watching some of the county meetings, and it sounds like there's some pretty significant impacts at the county and state levels. Are we going to start looking at what we think the impacts could be to the city?
It's, yeah, I mean,
I know it's
we're
hard. It's hard to
Yeah.
judge. I know it's hard to say, but
yeah, like like how to do an analysis is kind of like, it's kind of,
yeah, I know it's kind of how do
we
you
don't,
know?
we're a lot smaller. We can anticipate, reductions in property taxes, the sales taxes are gonna reduce, but how much? I don't know, like Tumwater's preparing for 10%.
So,
They're just,
yeah.
they're just cutting 10% across the board. We immediately said that we're going to, cut any discretionary spending. We're going to dial back anything that's not completely necessary.
Till we can see.
We said that we're going to suspend, like any raises. We're gonna, we're gonna put a stop to pretty much everything that we can put a stop to until we can get a handle on what's going on.
It's just, yeah, and we don't even know how long this is going to last yet. So,
No.
I just want to make sure we don't get ourselves in a bad spot until we kind of get a handle on what, like, so I think that's the right thing to do is just kind of put off any discretionary stuff, especially that we can.
Yeah, the big, there are a few bigger items that we are continuing to move forward with, and those are mostly to do with the wastewater treatment plant. We have to haul off the solids in the lagoon, so that's going to be, that's going to be an expensive item that you guys will see soon, but it absolutely has to be done.
And that's
And
kind of
we are
a different fund than a general fund too, though. So
yeah, those are things not, those are things out of that utility fund. And then also we have ordered the creation of that septage receiving station,
right,
because that's, that kind of stuff doesn't stop.
right. Yeah, the basic functions can't stop, but the stuff with grants, that was my other thing. If it's a grant funded, that's cool. I mean, not like it's coming out of the general fund.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway.
There's not a lot of meat on the bone to begin with, but we're gonna we are dialing it back. You
Okay.
know, we may not be buying the new public works vehicle. We may, it may be a little while before we get another police car.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things.
Okay.
Fixing asphalts down Houston Street.
Mhm.
Yeah. Your dad will just pave it all.
Mr. Mayor,
Who's talking?
Chief.
that's Chief.
Oh,
Hi, everybody. If I could, I'd like to thank all of you for the lovely watch I received tonight from Rachel. She was kind enough to bring us dinner, and I just can't say enough how much I'm overwhelmed by your support of me and the community support of me. And, I hope that I'll be able to return in a timely manner. Any great community. So thank you again, all of you, and I appreciate it.
You're welcome,
Thank
Chief.
you, Chief.
Get well.
Good to see.
we're glad you're
Good to
okay.
see you home, Chief. Good to see
Yeah.
you there.
Just get well.
I'm going to try.
Marines don't try, they do. Get well.
Bye.
All right, we got 8 minutes left. Anybody got any quarantine stories?
No, but if you wanna real quick, instead of having to wait till the other side, the fire department's moving forward with their request for $5 million to build a new fire station. I tried to get them to wait until February, which would be a much smarter time, and they weren't going for it. Otherwise, if we had this same kind of a meeting. And as far as the Transportation Policy Board, that's tomorrow morning.
Yeah, to ask for $5 million right now is kind of that's beyond me.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I tried to get them to hold off until February, and they weren't listening to history. So I did what I could.
Yeah. When's it going on the ballot?
August. Unless something happens, we have until late May to make the final decision to either pull it off or continue forward, but it'll be on the primary ballot. With everything else that's going to be on the ballot.
Yeah. We're in the middle of a global economic meltdown.
Pretty much.
But hey.
By the way, I'm the one that's, because I know the rules better than they do. I'll be the spokesman.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the info.
You're welcome.
Anything else?
Museum hasn't been meeting, obviously why. So we can knock that one off the list too.
Yeah. We don't really have any bad stories about behavior or anything like that since we've announced the emergency. I think just about everybody, most businesses have been voluntarily compliant. I know Joyce is staying open, but I don't know, is she still open? She's been the only one that I've kind of got some complaints about.
Who?
Joyce.
Oh, she's not open.
But we're not out. What's that?
She is not open.
Oh, she's not anymore. Yeah, everybody's been really good about it. There's been a lot of people that have been wondering, what's an essential business? What's that? What's this? And there is some guidance that's kind of not entirely specific that the governor's given out, but by and large, everybody's been really good about it.
Well, the most maddening thing about the businesses that are stayed open are places like Walmart, Target. They've got clothing and everything else there, and it's up for grabs. There's nothing keeping people from shopping for that kind of thing. And yet a small business like Joyce's, for instance, has to be closed.
Selling the same things, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it just doesn't seem quite right. Fine, garden areas and food places, I can see why
Tell her to
they're,
put some toilet paper on the shelf.
what?
Tell her to put some toilet paper on the shelf.
Yeah, yeah.
Dave's finally had some. I saw some in there earlier.
Oh man, did you buy it all up?
Yeah. There was like 3 of them though, so they're probably gone now.
I saw I was in there the other day and they're little teeny 4-roll packs and the toilet paper roll can't be more than, oh, I don't know. It's got to be 50 sheets on a roll. They're horrible.
That 1-ply stuff.
Yeah, must be. I don't know. I thought, gee, that's a funny looking package of toilet paper.
Mm-hmm.
I just shower when I'm done.
Bidet sales are going through the roof right now.
Tim Collins went up and they've got a house in Squim that they've been renting and they're like getting ready to sell it. And he went into the bathroom and the renters had installed a bidet in there. And he's like, I'm going to get so much money for this on eBay. I was like, that's kind of gross.
Yeah.
I saw an ad on TV last night, one of those late night things, right? And it was an adapter kit. You can turn any toilet into a bidet for
That's what this was.
$9.99.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw those too.
The interesting part about that is on Amazon, they started selling those kits for $39. Now they're at $59.
Hmm.
Thought it was illegal to do that.
Yeah.
Price gouging.
Mm-hmm.
Price gouge.
Well, they're still having a hard time keeping them in stock.
That's crazy.
Two minutes. This is funny.
It's just awkward to have silence.
Yeah.
It
Once in a
doesn't
while.
bother me. I'm just watching all you guys.
Well, I have a crack in my phone screen because, I drop it all the time. And it keeps wanting to put this line down my face and glare. I have to keep moving.
That's
Other than that, kids are actually getting along today. That's good.
nice. That's nice.
Yep. Today. Yesterday wasn't so good, but about ready to send them all to Jason's house.
I'll take Chase.
Yeah, you can have him.
Yeah, I miss that guy. That's good.
Yeah, he's got some more dad jokes for you. Saving them up.
Hey, Millard, on the consent calendar, I don't have the number. Oh, there they are. On the original.
Yeah, I typed it into the agenda for you, so
Oh, there we go.
right there.
I just had to update it. Almost time.
Need to
I
pipe
should have
in
done this from the hot tub.
You keep
That
going
would've been
sideways.
hilarious.
Rachel,
What's that?
Rachel keeps going sideways. Is that
I
on
do?
my?
She's probably turning her phone around.
Well, I gotta fight the crack in my phone. Maybe
She's a
that's
crack
why.
fighter.
Because I keep moving. I need a new phone, but I can't do it because my kids all have the new ones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the April 14th Tenino City Council meeting. We are live from quarantine. Let the record show that all council members are present. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Wait, what? You really?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
United States of America,
and to the republic
and
for which it stands,
which
one
stands
nation,
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have an agenda needing approval.
Move approval.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion from John O'Callahan and a second from Rachel Davidson to approve.
No, it was
the
Linda
agenda-
Godovac.
Linda Godovac to approve. Oh, hi, Linda. To approve the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. We have deferred the approval of the minutes to our next meeting where we're actually in person, which brings us to the consent calendar. This is payrolls and EFTs in the amount of $84,399.06 and claims checks number 29011 through 29064 in the amount of $65,779.03 for a ground total of $150,178.09. No new licenses, no new renewals.
Move approval.
Second.
Second.
I have a motion from O'Callahan and a second from Watterson to approve the consent calendar. Is there any discussion?
Yes. So how are we going to do this? So we're going to come over to City Hall one at a time and just sign, or do you guys have something else?
Mr. Millard, how would you like to handle that?
Just as normal, the only change is give us a holler before you decide to come down in the event that we're working from home or anything like that.
Okay.
We'll let you in.
So City Hall is closed, but there are personnel. If you want to come in and sign the vouchers, we don't need everybody to do it. We just needed a majority to do it. Call ahead of time, let us know, make sure they're there. And if we need your signature, we'll tell you a time to come in. If we've already got 3 signatures, we can let you know that, and then it's up to you whether you come in and sign it or not.
Well, I will just come in on Thursday. I'll come in Thursday at, say, 11 o'clock and sign.
John, is anybody going to be there tomorrow about 2:30?
Tomorrow.
I couldn't hear
Tomorrow's
you.
Wednesday.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll be in about 2:30 tomorrow.
Okay. Wear masks.
Okay.
Like
I actually
this.
have some from the fire department in my car.
Wear a Darth Vader mask.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just give them a call, see if they're there.
Okay. We already had a vote on that, right?
Yeah.
No.
No,
Okay.
we didn't vote. We didn't
Discussion.
vote.
All right,
No.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? Motion passes. We have no executive sessions. We have no presentations. That brings us to public comment. At this point, if there's anyone in the meeting that is a member of the public that would like to provide comment, we will provide 3 minutes for you to do so. I want you to just key in, say your name, and let me know. And if we have more than, I don't know who's all on here, but if you would like to provide comment, just let me know and I'll call on you. But this time, if there was anyone that is a member of the audience that would like to provide public comment, please let me know.
Wayne, is this when you want a library report, or do you want to do that later?
We have deferred all reports. So if you want to provide anything, right now would be your time.
Okay, I would like to provide something.
Okay. You have 3
Alrighty.
minutes.
All right. So I just wanted to say hello, everybody. Sorry I joined a little bit late. I had a little technical difficulty, but I'm glad to see everybody is staying home and staying safe. I just wanted to remind people that while our physical library building is closed, there are quite a few online resources that you can access with your library card. If you don't happen to have a library card, you can get one without going into any library by going to www.trl.org, and we're doing e-library cards from a distance. Many library staff are working from home to provide assistance, including some story times, but also live chat and our Ask a Librarian questions. So we're still around. We're just not at the library right now. I also wanted to mention that if students, teachers, and administrators and staff at the Tenino School District don't realize it, everybody there has a My TRL card, which is something that allows access to all of our online resources. So you can just go again to trl.org to find out how you can access that, or if you can get in through Skyward, you can do that as well. Let's see, also thinking about all of the people who may not have jobs right now due to the pandemic or reduced hours, we will be having an upcoming e-newsletter that's devoted to workforce development. We worked on that with WorkSource, so keep an eye out for that in your email or on our webpage. I did want to mention, besides our webpage, we do have a lot of information going out over the Timberland Facebook page, and I am relaying some of that and adding some different things on the Tenino Library Facebook page. So those are two great places to check to kind of find out what's going on, and periodically a little humor for relief from everything that's going on day to day. So please do take a look at that. So that's it for me tonight. But like I said, I'm glad to see everybody staying at home and stay safe. And we're looking forward to the day that we can get back to regular business and see all of our library patrons in person again.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, TRL, for all you do. Is there anyone else in the public who would like to provide comment? I think that is it. That brings us to proclamations, none, and then old business. Old business item number 7, Mr. Don Bowman, the lead volunteer for the caboose restoration project, identified a cast iron caboose stove of the exact type originally used in caboose X549 on an online auction site in the amount of $600. He asked the city if he could make the purchase on a reimbursable basis, and because there was only a single stove meeting the exact specification available, and because the price was reasonable, and because the opportunity to make such an acquisition at any price may not present itself in the future, the administration approved the purchase. We're recommending to move to declare the existence of special market conditions and ratify the purchase of the caboose stove as part of the restoration project.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the declaration of special market conditions and ratify the purchase of the caboose stove. Is there any discussion? I just want to remind everybody that this is grant funded. John, did you have a comment?
Yeah, even though it's grant funded, I still think we need to really start. We can't do this anymore until until we get back into normal stuff. You know what I mean?
Okay, noted.
$600. It's still grant money. I understand all of that. What? We need, like you said earlier, we need to start holding the line on stuff, because we don't know what the future is going to look like as far as kind of income from tax revenues. We just need to be real careful.
Okay.
Well, we can't.
Go ahead.
I don't think we can use that for anything but the caboose anyway.
I understand. That's what I said. What I'm saying in general is that we need to start being
Right.
mindful.
Yeah, so we have several grant funded projects, the city hall, the caboose, the water line going into the ag park, the quarry pool restoration, the quarry house. I mean, it's well over $1 million in grant funds that can only be spent on those things. We have timelines, and we do not intend to stop the progress on those grant funded projects because that money can't be used for anything else. So I understand what you're saying, but unless you guys want to say we don't want to do any of those things, you know, we have contracts and we have things that we're going to continue doing.
Plus the fact we can keep people working as much as they can.
Yeah.
We're allowed to.
Yeah. You know, for example, commercial construction is something that is still allowed. So when we get to the point of renovation of City Hall and putting out the contract for this these water lines, those are jobs that can still happen right now where people can still get paid. Is there any further discussion on the ratification of special market conditions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 8, Gibson Olson has proposed an amendment to our standard engineering services agreement to authorize them to provide both bid phase and construction management phase engineering services for the extension of the city's sewer and water infrastructure to the ag park. City Attorney Hughes is still reviewing this. We're recommending that you move to authorize Mayor Fournier signing the amendment, provided that any issues identified by City Attorney Hughes are addressed to his satisfaction.
Move approval.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Dave, did you have a comment?
No, I was just laughing because everybody's second.
Oh, yeah. He's much more bold from home. Okay, hearing no discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Millard, did you have any comments?
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, all those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 9, the invitation to bid for the extension of the city's sewer and water infrastructure to the site of the future Southwest Washington Agricultural Innovation Park yielded 13 bids. The bids were opened during an open public meeting connected via GoToMeeting, and the apparent low bidder was Barcott Construction LLC. The city engineer reviewed all documents submitted in the bid and concluded that Barcott's bid is the low bid submitted and is properly filled out, including signatures, and is deemed to be responsive. He also verified that Barcott Construction is in good standing with the state of Washington and recommends they be awarded the contract. Please see the attached bid tabulation and award recommendation. It is recommended that you move to approve Mayor Fournier to enter into a contract with Barcott Construction for the extension of the city's sewer and water infrastructure to the future site of the Southwest Washington Ag Innovation Park, provided that such contract is first approved by the city attorney.
Make it so.
We have a motion from O'Callahan and a second from Watterson. Is there any discussion?
Just that I was happy to see it looked like it came in quite a bit under what the original
I was
estimate
going to
was.
ask Millard to present on that. John, do you have any comments?
Yes, the engineer and I have been in discussions with SCJ Alliance, who they're the ones that are making the diagrams for the site. And what we're proposing is that we extend the main sewer and water lines farther south onto our parcel of property, and to the extent the remaining money will allow us to do so, then run lateral lines out from those main lines in preparation for buildings 1 through 8. The current diagrams, there's no engineering, it's all conceptual stuff, but the current diagrams show up to 8 buildings on that site, and we'd like to use the remaining funds to bring the sewer and water to the point where it can be more easily brought to the buildings once those buildings are developed. And what we have to do to make that happen is look at the terms of the grant. Those are very favorable for that, because under the terms of the grant, the end state is that we have infrastructure laid out on the site to the extent the money will allow. So even though the contract as currently let is simply to extend the sewer and the water lines to the plant, we can, through the mechanism of change orders, bring the lines farther onto the property. And what we'd really like to do is ensure that we get the sewer and the water lines over to the site of the first building, because if you'll all recall, the gap in funding is the site prep for that first building.
Right.
We have the money for the sewer and water infrastructure. We have the money for the building itself, but nothing for site development. So we'd like to use that money as far as the Department of Commerce will let us to do the site development.
Yeah, so if anybody didn't recognize, the low bidder came in about $200,000 under our estimate. Yeah, so we're looking to make sure that we can use that extra $200,000 for further development. So this is good.
That's a great thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, we might as well do it while they've got their equipment out there instead of trying
Yeah.
to start over later as much as possible.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to new business. Proposed ordinance 906. This would give the mayor the authority to continue to pay city employees who would otherwise report to work, but for a stay-at-home order, the full amount of their regular pay. This proposed ordinance has been reviewed and includes the changes suggested by City Attorney Hughes. Recommended action is to move to accept this as the first reading, proposed ordinance 906 as presented.
Move approval.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded by everyone to accept as the first reading, proposed ordinance 906. Is there any discussion?
I just had a question. Does that keep us until we final pass this? Can we still pay our employees the full amount in the meantime until this goes through the whole process? Are they going to get paid their full amount?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, in point of fact, with respect to the police department and public works, the only thing that they've modified is they don't all go to the office first thing. They report to their tasks from home.
Yeah, we've made adjustments and to, during this stay-at-home order to where this really isn't going to be used right now, because even if the public works guys, we were saying, hey, work from home and just respond to potholes and, sewer emergencies, do it as individuals, use social distancing. So we've kind of already made the adjustments, but this is still a big what if scenario. If it was like a total lockdown, and even they changed the definition of essential employee or something like that, this would help us, but we're not necessarily doing
now.
this. Yeah.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. That brings us to resolutions. Proposed resolution 2020-02 would adopt an electronic signature policy that would protect the city's interests while conducting business using modern document technologies. We are recommending that you move to approve resolution 2020-02 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded by everybody. We'll say Jason. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to our written reports. Because reports are not necessary as defined by the Attorney General's Office opinion, March 26, 2020, they are included only for the purpose of providing access as part of the city's effort to make public records as accessible as possible. So you can read those on your own. Announcements. Thursday, April 23rd, 2020 is the second annual Library Giving Day across the nation. The Timberland Regional Library asks that those who are able to please consider a donation to the district so that they may continue to expand their digital offerings. Thus concludes our first online meeting.
Mr.
Non-debatable motion.
Mayor, before you actually bang the gavel,
Okay,
council, a request from your clerk. I'm bringing a message forward from the Washington Municipal Clerks Association. Like a lot of other agencies, they had to cancel their annual conference. But all the proclamations in the world don't have effects on contracts. So they still have to pay the people that they contracted with in order to hold them for when they can reschedule the conference. Their normally assigned treasurer is out due to COVID-19. And so the association temporarily lacks the ability to write checks on behalf of the association. The president of the association has asked me if you would be willing to allow the city of Tenino to write a couple of checks on behalf of the association so that they can lock down those contracts, and the association will reimburse the city for those amounts when their treasurer gets back to work. So that's the question on the table.
How much we're looking at?
A total of about $23,000.
Do they have any idea how soon this person will be back?
They're hoping within 2 weeks.
I have no problem with it. They've done
I
enough
don't
for us.
either.
I don't either.
Well, Jason, what about you?
I don't. I mean,
yeah,
Well,
I mean, it's the Washington State Municipal Clerks Association. They're not gonna,
Yeah,
No.
stiff us.
if they don't have their paperwork together, then we've got bigger issues to worry about.
Yeah.
It was the WMCA that got the governor to proclaim and waive the requirements of the Public Meeting Acts and the PRA so that we can do these kinds of meetings.
Yeah,
We get a huge benefit from them. They're very helpful. So I thank you very much, and I'll let the president know that we'll do those transactions for him, and anxiously await reimbursement.
awesome.
Sounds
All
good.
right,
Thank you, John.
motion to adjourn.
Non-debatable.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
See you guys
I
next
like
time.
that gavel. I like
Yeah.
that gavel.
It's blunted. All right.
Good night.
Bye.